It's hard to see the full expression of the sea, of the sun, of all that is around us, unless we are living with grace and gratitude, right? Peaceful evening. How are you doing tonight? I may only have a short window of opportunity to share the light, right? Let's all be bright. Let's all shine our light. I have a little bit of mobile hair going on. So I got a bit of sun today. I hope you're all having an amazing wet Wednesday. What? I'm in a space of grace and gratitude today. I have had an amazing, wonderful, special day. And how about you? So it started out first, I got up, I was awake kind of early, and my girlfriend and I had plans to meet up to take a walk along the waterfront in Dunedin. And it was really, really beautiful. I got plenty of sun. I'm a whole new person. I'm baked, right? And yeah, we just had catch-up time. Just reflecting and her sharing how far she feels she's come in her life, and the same with me. It's really sweet when you can reflect upon where were you a year ago? Were you a different person? Did you still have those same beliefs, and were you experiencing things in a different way than you are now? I mean, like a year ago, I was preparing to try to get my retreat going. I was really pumped and excited. I was hoping to be going to Italy again. And you know what? It didn't work out, but that was okay, and I didn't let it upset me. So just like that, I'm able to recognize that it was okay, that it wasn't a failure in my life. It was recognizing the limitations that were occurring. The challenge that I was facing was not meant to put me into, that anxiety space, but it was really there for me to recognize that, okay, I have a little bit more work that needs to go on and be done, right? We can't just jump in with both feet and expect everything's gonna unfold perfectly for us. And so just those little moments of, oh, okay, it wasn't meant to happen, but that's okay. So, but it's okay. Here's the beauty and the blessing, is fortunately I was able to communicate with the individual who I placed a deposit on for the villa, and they're holding it for me. And I said, listen, here's where I'm at. I'm looking at next year, not this year, but 2019. And so I'm planning better. I'm trying to learn from the mistakes or the challenges I didn't foresee at that time. And because it also requires a lot more thinking about what it is you need. First off, you need people who are interested and available, because I had plenty of people who claimed they were interested to go, but none of them were available because they had made other plans. So that was one simple thing. Oh, time is running out? You know what, Heather? That's a great question, because when I felt like time was running out, especially leading up to the time I was supposed to be on that retreat, which would have been June. And what ended up happening was that as I get closer and closer to the dates, I kept thinking, okay, well, something might happen. But when it didn't, it was okay. And I was comfortable with it not working out. When I say comfortable, okay, I mean, like we go up in the mind and we're like, okay, I'm feeling challenged. Why doesn't it fall into place like I felt like it would? Well, I take a step back, I breathe into it and go, okay, maybe there's something here for me to learn. Breathing into that belly, breathing into that heart space, recognizing that, oh, I just simply wasn't prepared, and there were lessons learned. And so when we run out of time and think we have to meet a certain window of time, recognize it's just not proper timing. The grace and the gratitude is showing up in the moment, and expect all those limitations and what we may beat ourselves up about, they're expectations, they're attachments to how you want things to look, how you want them to turn out. And when they don't, that doesn't mean you're a failure. It just simply means that it's okay. It wasn't divine time. And so for me, hey Rachel, when it's not divine time, I know it'll happen when it's meant to. And the divine time is always your soul's perfect flow. It's always when you're meant to. How many of you make up these plans of how you want your day to unfold, and then it doesn't unfold that way, and then beat yourself up and say, well, I had so much I wanted to get done, and this is what didn't happen, but fail to remember and be grateful for what did, right? Maybe it's because we try to do too much in too short of a window of time. Time is definitely, at least for myself, speeding up. I feel like I woke up early, I'm out of the bed by 6 or 7 in the morning, and I'm proud of myself, and then all of a sudden 10 o'clock rolls around and I wonder, where did the time go? Or like this morning was one of those moments where I looked at the time, I'm like, wow, it's only 9:30. I've done a lot since the time I got up, right? So we have to be kinder with ourselves and not beat ourselves up and should on ourselves, right? What is shoulding on yourself doing? It's kind of like beating yourself up for something that you wanted, you were attached to. And you got to let that stuff go. Time's not going to catch up to you. You have to allow time to unfold in the way it's meant to. And that, in this reality, this time existence that we live in, we are all caught up in how everything's unfolded already in our lives, and we expect things to be a certain way. But that's because of the past. And so we have to adapt and overcome and become flexible with the new way of doing things, with allowing your life to be a little bit more eased and graceful, like do things smarter, not harder. Don't beat up on yourself. When you catch that negative self-talk, bring it back to, okay, you're beating yourself up about this. What is it you can actually give yourself accolades and appreciation and pats on the back and wow, look at where I am. Look how far I've come. Just look back a year from now and what is it you can be grateful for in your life that's already occurred? How many times can you look back and say, it didn't happen the way I wanted to, but guess what? It happened, something else happened that was even better and more beautiful, right? So I know for me, when I was going through these crazy, last minute, oh my gosh, how am I going to get this retreat filled? Am I even going to be able to do it? I'm really feeling like I'm obligated to this person that I have set this deposit with, and that in itself, there's that when you don't meet the needs or you fail to deliver on their promises, you overpromise, underdeliver. I mean, that's probably the one thing we all beat ourselves up on the most, whether it's to somebody else or to ourselves. It feels more like a sting when it's to someone else that we promise to do something and we don't end up following through. That is probably one of my biggest challenges, is that I want to deliver on all of my promises, and every once in a while I fall short, and that's okay. I'm human, everybody's human, and when you communicate, it softens the blow. You don't have to should on yourself. You communicate with other people and say, listen, I was unable to fulfill my promises, I apologize, I will try better next time. Just like with yourself. Forgiveness is key. You have to forgive yourself and recognize, maybe I didn't make it through this time, but next time I'm going to do better. Because every time you're aware of what you consider a shortcoming, that's actually just an opportunity of growth and the opportunity to appreciate that you saw it. Just that in itself. Be grateful for your awareness to recognize, wow, I was unable to fulfill those commitments to myself, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm going to be kinder. I'm going to be forgiving and loving enough to go, it's okay, next time I will do better. because you always have the opportunity to grow. And if you come short on something, you can always go further. It's not that you're ever failing, it's just you're unfolding, your soul is developing, you are becoming the person you came here to be, this being, this amazing creation that you are. Just look into the mirror and just be grateful for your existence, and wow, look at what you get to experience. Grace and gratitude, that's where it is. Your grace comes with the more gracious, grateful you are. When you appreciate something, it grows, right? So how could you not grow if you aren't appreciating yourself, right? So the more you appreciate yourself, the more gracious you are and grateful and grace and ease with yourself, the more you're going to grow. You're going to expand. Appreciate, right? There's a reason they use that in financial terminology. Appreciation is because it gets more attention. It gets more energy toward it. Where attention goes, energy flows. And so why not focus on what it is that you want to grow? So that was just a flow through. I mean, I'm appreciating those words, just saying them and hearing them myself. Because every time that something comes in for me, I know it's not just for me. And that's why I really appreciate all of you showing up and witnessing me sharing what comes through. My girlfriend sent me a text message a little bit ago. We had a really beautiful time. And I have to tell you, one of the most beautiful things about having your girlfriends and your friends, for me, my goddesses, is that we can reflect and share. And we were talking today about how when things don't happen in the time we want them to. By the way, there's no CMs out tonight apparently, and they're biting me up already. So I might have to move from this spot. So I was really just valuing her and listening to her, and I know I was talking just as much because we hadn't seen each other since last week, and she was sharing some of her personal stuff. But what was really sweet that I really appreciated that she shared is she recognized, she had invited me to go to a place in Tampa tonight, and I told her, I said, if I didn't have to get up at 7 in the morning, if I didn't have to get to sleep early because my stomach was still bothering me, you know, for those of you who've been watching me, it's an every 2-day BM, and it's still very tender in my gut. My gut is still a little bit thrown off. I said, and I'm trying to resettle, right? So she sent me a text message a little bit ago. She wasn't able to find anybody who was willing to go with her. And I said, well, you know, she said, I recognize, earlier she says this, I recognize that whenever this happens, either someone comes through and she's able to go with, or she wasn't meant to go. She sends me a message just a little bit ago saying, guess what? This person showed up who we'd been speaking about earlier, and they asked me if I wanted to go out tonight, and I said, yeah, sure, would you be interested in going? And that's exactly how it unfolded for her, and that was her perfect divine time. Everything unfolds in our perfect divine time. And if you feel like something's restricting you, really the only thing restricting any of us is this. It's our own personal beliefs and limitations that we think it has to be in this way, shape, or form. Ideology and perfectionism, y'all, it doesn't serve. It actually holds us back. And when we're stuck in that, we lose sight of what is right in front of us. So while she was unable to find somebody else to go, somebody else showed up, but she allowed that. I know in my own life, when something hasn't gone the way I wanted, of course, in the past I used to be the first one to throw a temper tantrum. I used to get upset about things, really, really bad. Like, and then I'd bitch about it. You know, one of my good friends who would listen to me and enable my bad behavior about constantly talking about the same thing over and over again, right? Retelling the story, reliving the story. I'm grateful for all of that because I had to see that in myself in order to see where I could change that. I can change my story by changing my dialogue, by changing my focus. Instead of complaining about something, now I'm like, it's okay. It's perfectly fine the way it is. I'm going to be fine. and something bigger and better is going to come around the corner. That's the beauty of my life, and it's always proven it. Since I've started paying more attention, become more mindful of it, been more gracious and appreciative of what is working. So when something's not working, hello, it's only because it's my resistance to seeing a better way or seeing what could work better. So I opened myself more, and especially in this past year. When the retreat didn't work out and I had to, I won't say I had to surrender. I didn't feel defeated. I just said to myself, it's okay. It just wasn't meant to happen just yet. And that's okay, because I see that just means I'm going to be better prepared, and the right people will show up who are wanting to go. So that's a place in Italy, in Tuscany, Italy, that I have reserved still. And it looks like it'll be June or July of next year, which is perfect. And I'm happy for that. And the irony was that during this time last year, I also had to surrender to the fact that a relationship I wasn't really in a relationship, I won't say, but I just literally, and actually it was a little over a year, it was probably about a year and a half ago, that I kind of let someone out of my life and said, you know what, that clearly wasn't meant to be, but it served me. And I made a prayer out to the universe during the time when I was starting to feel like, as I got closer to the time of the retreat that I was supposed to be holding and things not working out, I was like, you know what, it's okay. And I forgive myself for having such high expectations, and even getting upset with myself for it not working out the way I wanted it to. And I put out a prayer and I said, you know what, I clearly am not meant to do this on my own, because here's the irony. We can do it all doesn't mean we have to or should. So when we should on ourselves, right, people? If you want the right people to show up in your life, you have to surrender it. This small little bit of thing, we call it control, and you have to surrender to the idea that somebody will show up in your life to support you, to be more available, to show you where you can grow. And now my lighting got funky. Can you see me now? And it's funny enough, you know, like, it's crazy how my life has unfolded since then, because I would have never expected where I am today to be so amazing. And I'm telling you, every day I wake up with gratitude in my heart. I go to sleep with gratitude in my heart. I have so much joy and love in my life right now. All of y'all that know, I mean, how can you not with a beautiful man like Tom, which I'm extremely grateful and appreciative of having in my life. I'm especially grateful because if it wasn't for him showing up in my life when he did, who knows where I'd be, right? So this is kind of funky, and I'm not even playing with filters. Hello, can you see me now? This is kind of fun. I literally put a prayer out there and said, you know what? I know I'm not meant to do it all, and I'm going to allow the universe to let the right person, whoever that is meant to be, show up in my life. And you know, honestly, I'm going to share this because I've never shared it before. Well, maybe. Do I really want to share that? I have certain things that I've written down in my journal during different times for manifestation purposes. I've done like the whole vision board. I've got 3 vision boards up on my altar right now as it is. I'm constantly growing with it. I allow space on them so that, you know, there's always the possibility for something to surprise me, so that it doesn't always have to look the way I expect it. I believe in that extra empty space on the vision board is meant to also be available for something outside of the realm of what you desire and want. I'm trying to fix my hair. I get a little silly out here. And so, yeah, people will show up in your life if you allow that energy to come in. And you, again, you start to recognize your own major breakthroughs, your triumphs, your successes. You celebrate the small milestones, the short, like, oh, look, Look, I was able to get out of bed this morning. I'm grateful for that. I was able to take a deep breath. I'm able to go outside and walk in this beautiful sunshine. Today was a gorgeous day. Very, very windy, and it just kept the breeze that was perfect to cool off all the heat of the sun. It's those little things that the more you're appreciative to what's going right in your life, the more will show up in your life to appreciate. And that's what's going to grow. And we're meant to be expansive. Don't play small. Stand tall, right? Don't be small. Don't play small. Stand tall. That's huge. A lot of us, we play small. And it's not serving us. We try to do it all. Hey, listen, you know, my girlfriend asked me today, she said, when was the last time you lived with somebody? Now, y'all, I've never been married. I've had roommates over the years. I was in the Air Force, so you had to have a roommate here or there during my first few years in the Air Force. But truly, the last time I actually had someone living with me, long time. A long time. We're talking at least 15 plus years. And I'm not counting my dad. I don't think that counts. I mean, like, you know, yeah, I've had roommates, but as far as having a partner, no, I'm very independent, always have been. I've always done everything for myself, you know, like doing yard work and stuff around my house. Every once in a while I would have friends come over and help me. But in all honesty, my life has been more about me doing everything because I've always felt like I had to do everything myself. And I learned from my mother, rarely would accept or allow someone to help me, to show up and do things for me. Anybody else out there, can you relate? Allowing someone to show up and take care of you, allowing someone to show up and be there for you, and saying yes when they say, do you need my help? Sometimes I still don't know how to say yes, but in reality, I'm more willing now than I ever was in my past. My past, I was the first one to be like, I used to have guys do you want me to buy this for you? I'm like, no, it's okay. And then I'd go and buy it for myself. Like, how horrible is that? Like, the real true gift is allowing people to do things for you too, you know. So when you deny someone that beauty, that gift of giving to you, you're cutting it off from both directions. You're not just not receiving and not allowing to be, you know, to receive things, but you're also taking away from the joy of that other person who is offering and asking and wanting to do something, to put a smile on your face, or just, you know, just to do it out of the kindness of their heart. Now, I'm not talking, there are those people that do things because they expect something in return, and I grew up with that old way of doing, you know, my mom used to say, nobody ever does anything for free, there's always a cost, right? And the same thing, mosquitoes too, by the way, and the same thing with my dad. Nothing in this life comes for free. And how about this one? Nothing comes without hard work. So of course, we're really striving to get away from the old way of thinking that you have to work hard to be worthy of receiving something that is, wow, huge, right? So yeah, when you're independent and you're disallowing another person to help or to do something kind for you, and you say no to someone, it's creating that blockage of receptivity, of flow, of manifestation. To give is to receive, and to receive is to give. You're giving the gift back to the person when you receive, and you are giving something, you are also receiving something in return. There's no such thing as a one-way street. I don't care what they've been saying all these years. All of that is a bunch of bogus crap. Life shows up to you if you allow it, but you have to be open to it and appreciate it when it comes. It's gonna flow so much more beautifully when you're in that space to receive it. When you're in that space of surrender and allowance, the grace, that appreciation, it's like really like, boom, here it is. It shows up when you show up. It shows up when you show yourself from the inside out. I am worthy. I do deserve that. I do deserve to be happy, and I'm allowed to get excited about it. That was another thing that came up in our discussion. I said, I shared with her about how a couple weeks ago I was reminded that there's this old thing that when we were little, sometimes you get really super excited and your parents would say, don't get too excited because, the shoe's going to drop or something's going to happen. And, you got to be prepared for failure, or you have to be prepared to be disappointed. Do you all still buy into that? Why? Why do we have to buy into that? So for those of us who have had so many triumphs and tribulations and failures and excitements, it's like, how often have you caught yourself expecting the worst of a good situation? Like when you're super, super happy, your life is perfect. Had the mind go into that, this could change any moment. The shoe could drop. I'm just waiting for that moment when this is all gonna fizzle out. How many of you out there can appreciate what I'm saying? Have you been there? Do you still do it? I catch myself, simple thing, coming to a red light or coming up to a green light and going, it's going to turn red as soon as I get to it, isn't it? This is stuff in my head. I see a red light and now I see the red light and go, as soon as I get to it, it's going to turn green. And you know what? That's the beauty. You got to shift it. You got to take yourself out of the old way of going, okay, that green light is probably going to change any minute now just because I'm coming up on it and because that's how my life is. And because crappy stuff happens to me, I'm already anticipating it. So what do you think is going to happen? You're just drawing it to yourself. I'm a subscriber. I did it a lot of my life. And you know what? I'm kind of over it. So let's create a new dialogue within ourselves. Let's again become more mindful and gracious, grateful, appreciate what's right there in front of you in the moment and allow it to unfold and be perfect in its whole, right? Thank you, Laura. I wouldn't know what it felt like to have to do it all if I hadn't done it. But you know what? Now, allowing others to come into my life and to swoop in and to take care of me, different areas of my life, or to take care of me when I needed that, I'm telling you, it feels so much better now. Instead of the martyr syndrome of, no, don't worry about it, I got this, it's okay, I got this. And then suffering through it or having any animosity where maybe you really wanted to accept the help, but instead you said no and you just kept pushing it away. Well, guess what? One thing I have learned over the years, the more you push people away that are willing to help you, the less they offer to help you, the less they're going to show up for you because they feel unappreciated. They feel like they have no value in your life. So in a lot of ways, accepting offers from other people also is showing that you respect, honor, and value them, that you appreciate them. So this is the gracious gratitude of relationship, the receptivity, the showing up for yourself, as well as allowing others to show up for you. That's huge. And it didn't happen for me overnight, obviously. I'm still learning. When I need to get something done, I will do it. Just because that's my nature. I'm not always going to expect someone to just show up and read my mind. Y'all, that's another one, right? You're supposed to know what I need and just do it instead of ask and offer. Okay, we need to stop making it so hard. We have to stop getting caught up in the old, like, it's got to be, resistance to get things done. Woof. Like, really, we deserve so much better. We deserve it all. We deserve everything in our lives that we ever wanted, wished, or desired. We should allow that to come to us. And the more we appreciate with that graciousness, right? Get your glow on. These are car lights on me. I'm kind of liking the lighting. It makes me look all... I'm hiding behind a palm tree with the phone up in the palm tree. It's pretty rad, actually. Life, it's going to be as easy or difficult as this thing right here allows it to be. If you say that it's challenging, if you say it's difficult, if you say it's hard, you say it's easy, you say it's unbelievably magical, all of it, it applies. It applies to your life. It applies to you because of what this thing here is telling you. This is going to dictate how it all shows up to you. So if you're willing to confront it and be more mindful and aware of it, allow yourself to be totally awakened to what goes on up in here, because no matter what it is, even if you don't want to deal with it, it's going to serve you. If this is telling you it's difficult, it's hard, it's not going to work out, well, guess what's going to happen? You know, proof in the pudding, as they say, or, you know, like some of the silliest things. The reality is the ego is going to be really, really satisfied when it's right, but the heart is going to be crying and saying, why did we have to go down that road again? Did we really, truly have to re-experience this again? It's all a choice. It really is a choice, and if you can just shift the way we think, shift the way we show up, just the little things of what's going on up in your head. That's why mind, meditation, awareness, breathing, being conscious in your thoughts, in your communication, in your breath, in your awareness to what's going on and all that you're doing. That's really what we all need. I mean, I strive for it every day. It's a challenge here, it's a challenge there, but now it's exciting challenges. I don't show up as anxious as I used to. I'm allowing things to be a little bit more gracious, with gratitude, with appreciation that I get to live another day. And to me, it's all a playground anymore. And like I said the other day, life isn't just a game. The game is the mind. The mind's the one that plays games. We think other people are playing games with us. No, they're only showing up to where the mind is playing the game. A game is truly, you know what, we're all playing a game because this is the game of life. And so the choice is, how are you going to allow it to unfold? Surround yourself with people that uplift you, inspire you, support you, and embrace you. Allow yourself to be held sacred, right? Suffering is a choice. So, I could keep going on about this. I'm really just flowing with what came through when I just sat there thinking about how gracious we could be and just allow, right? My mind can beat me up really, 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 really well. But you know, more and more when that happens, and I know if you're all going through challenging times right now, the most important thing you can do is always bring it back to gratitude. Be gracious. Gracious comes from grace, comes from gratitude. It's this gracious acceptance of where you're at in this moment, allowing yourself the beauty of being, not always doing. Allow people to show up for you. When you allow people to show up for you, more people are going to show up for you. And the other thing is first showing up for yourself, because that's how it will unfold. Just being grateful is allowing and showing up for yourself so that others are able to, because you've just now given them permission by allowing yourself to show up for yourself, and now they show up for you too. Everything starts with self. So again, we're always going to come back. Oh, thank you, honey bunny. I love you. You know that. I got my eyeball on you. Love starts with self. When you love yourself enough, and it's taken years for me, because I didn't always like myself. When you show up and you truly work on loving yourself from the inside out, and people feel that and they radiate with you, they really feel your pulse, your energy when you walk in a room. And it humbles me every single time when people talk to me and they share with me how they've seen me grow over the past year, for example. It's humbling, but I so appreciate when someone tells me, when someone I know has known me for years enough to go, wow, I've seen a huge change in you. Wow, you look more radiant, you're more relaxed, you're glowing. I have this today. I walked over to, I was speaking with the girlfriend I've known for a while here, and she was just saying, wow, I could totally feel your energy, and I was across the room, and you just really seemed very much, you know, very comforting, very loving, very solid in your being. And of course, I'm always gracious and appreciative to hear that, and to hear that from her especially, that other people will feel that in you, that you are actually showing others that existence, you know, your existence is possibility for them too. Now, I don't want everybody to go out there and try to be like me. I just want you to be like you. That's kind of how I feel, but I think we all have such unique, innate, intuitive gifts to share with the world, to share with one another, you know? What's your gift? Do any of you know your gift? Share it in the comments. How does life show up to you, and how are you grateful in the moment? I love each and every one of you, because I wouldn't be talking on this live if it wasn't for you. And you're all beautiful. And I'm gonna say that, like, in the group today, I'm always surprised, and I just want to let you know, Tom likes to kind of like do things and not let me know, and I love that, because he catches me off guard, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And the wavelength to me is really, really special. And it started happening when we were first rapping, long before he was ever here. And he'd do something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, talk about being on my wavelength, or picking up on subtleties. So these are subtle hints of love, people. If someone shows up in your life and they do things without a conversation that just touches your heart, and they know it, they know they're doing it, there's that special bond, that special connection that is, it's just, again, I can't help but be grateful and appreciative, because then I'm like, my life, you can't make these stories up, because this is the beauty of allowing my life to unfold with grace, with ease, appreciation, awareness, and seeing those subtleties, mostly because that's kind of how I am. Oh, I love you so much, Rebecca, and you are doing an amazing job. I'm so proud of you, honey. Happy birthday. Or is it belated, because it was the other day? I hope you're having an amazing trip, because you mentioned something about going somewhere, right? So yeah, life is really, really sweet, and we just really need to savor those sweet moments. And I know I was just saying something, I allowed myself to kind of go off on a little tangent there and squirreled out. I do that every once in a while, and then I'll forget, and then it'll come back. I'm very much appreciative of the little things, and I love surprises, and I love giving and doing things surprisingly, and because it really makes me it gets me all giddy inside, like a little girl. And so yeah, if I can do things without the person knowing, so that it's a surprise, and then I get to see the excitement of them, I love that, you know, because I made someone smile, even, you know, and of course there's no guarantee you're gonna make them smile, but maybe in your heart you know you are, because you just know the person that well. Though that's the fun part about union, right, with another person, relationships, even like with my girlfriends or my friends over the years. If I didn't have a lot of money, if I could still give a gift, I would do it. Or even when I did have a lot of money and I was able to do something and put some smile on someone's face, to me that's all I needed, you know, especially when I knew it was gonna make a difference for that person. Instead of trying to figure out, oh, do they need it? Is this gonna be worth it? You know, like, why put too much thought into it? If you put too much thought, then it's probably not as genuine as you think it's gonna be. Just do it with grace and ease, gratitude and appreciation. Love the people in your life. Always tell them you love them, and don't just do it through words. Showing up, just, you know, hugs and kisses and affection, whatever it is your expression. Because your expression of love, and see, that's another thing, because everybody has a different expression of love, right? Sometimes our expression of love is different than someone else's expression. And maybe also there's those languages of love, right? Some people need physical material items to show love, and others don't. Me, it's time and affection is the biggest thing that I could ever receive from an individual. Money, it can't buy any of that affection, that attention, that one-on-one time. But you know, everybody's different, and it's really important to communicate. It's really important to communicate. So, again, I'm here. The sun has set. It's 7:07. Woohoo! I'm seeing serious double numbers today. I'm just really, like I said, it's all sweet spots. And yeah, they might be bumps in the road, but like I said the other day, you gotta lean into those curves and just move with the flow. Just go with it and allow the fluidity. I love you all. I really truly hope you've had an amazing day like I have. I'm a little bit red, toasty. I'm another layer of, I've got my summer glow on and it's not even spring yet, I don't think. So I just wish the best for everybody. Again, love in your heart, peace in your mind, or love in your heart, peace of mind. Always wake up with something to be grateful for, to appreciate, to grow. And also go to bed with that same attitude, because whatever it is you're last looking at, reading, exposed to, let it be something juicy that enhances your sleep and what makes you wake up in the morning with that same recollection of that felt really good, or that's really sweet. I'm cuddling up to my lover. I'm hugging and being embraced, and then the next morning you get to wake up with it again, right? So where attention goes, energy flows. And if you are watching something, and this is why it's really, really important for me, I don't know about anybody else, and it's hard because this is whole Facebook world, by the way, that the last thing you see before you close your eyes, or the last thing you listen to, is something peaceful, loving, supportive, uplifting, something that's going to feed and nourish your heart and soul. Anything else that detracts from that might have some bumpy, sleepy nights, right? So, okay, that's enough for me now, right? See, that's part of my little mind. It's like, okay, you've done enough talking. I think it's time to go. And I think Buddy might want to, he's like laid out over these, like, okay, I'm doing well, but, you know, when you're ready, I'm ready. So he'll probably be taking me out with the cats earlier or later when we're done with this walk. I have to be careful in the dark, because if I don't see the cat, I'm going to lose my arm. Mwah! 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 I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Little spring in my step tonight. Hugs and kisses. Sweet dreams.